Will Deion Sanders be able to win at Colorado? So, news has officially broke that he is going to be heading to Colorado to be their next head coach of their football program. Now, Colorado has only had 6 winning seasons since the year 2000. You look at Deion Sanders and what he has done during his time at Jackson State. 27-5, 2-time SWAC Coach of the Year. They recently just won the SWAC Championship once again. So you look at Deion Sanders, he definitely has shown that he knows what it takes to build a championship program, at least at a FCS level. Now, he's moving up to the FBS, and definitely we understand that moving from FCS to FBS definitely is a transition. And then going from FCS to Power 5 is even a bigger transition. But at the same time, I think Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Coach Prime, is good for it. You know, people try to say, well, JT, he was only able to win at Jackson State because he was able to recruit such a dominant team. Okay, you don't think he's going to be able to recruit at a pretty high level at Colorado? Jackson State currently ranks 68th according to 24/7 Sports Team Talent Composite rankings. There is no other team in the FCS that comes remotely close to where Jackson State is currently talent-wise. Jackson State also ranks higher on 247 Sports Team Talent Composite rankings, higher than Kansas State, who just won the Big 12 championship, and Tulane, who just won the American. And they also have a roster that's more talented than the majority of the Group of 5 schools out there and some of the bottom level Power 5 programs outside of, Kansas State, Tulane. You guys know what I'm talking about. So for Deion Sanders, I don't think his ability to recruit talent at Colorado is going to be a problem, especially when you consider the fact that Jackson State reportedly had a recruiting budget that in 2021 was less than $20,000. Okay, Colorado at least is going to spend more than $600,000 when it comes to recruiting. Now, how much they spend on recruiting and how much they put into their football program compared to the other Pac-12 programs such as Washington, Utah, Oregon, and USC and UCLA, probably not the same. Probably a significant gap. However, I think with Deion Sanders there, I definitely think that Colorado most definitely is going to be a little bit more committed to football with him being the head coach there than how they have been previously. And not to mention, Colorado football generated $21.5 million in ticket sales and donations in 2021. That's way more than what Jackson State brought in revenue last year. I think they only brought in $2.1 million. So I think with Deion Sanders going to a school that has way more resources, way more money, better facilities, he's going to have no problem winning and assembling a good team at Colorado. His son, Shadur, is going to end up transferring to Colorado. There are reports out there that he's already trying to recruit some guys from the transfer portal. And then, not to mention, most likely Travis Hunter, the number one recruit from the previous recruiting cycle, who Deion flipped from FSU to Colorado, is most likely going to end up hitting the transfer portal as well. I think that the best players from Jackson State are probably going to follow Deion. I don't know how many of the coaches are going to follow Deion. If Jackson State is smart, they probably would retain a coach from Deion's staff and make him their next head coach. but maybe they go elsewhere. But I probably could see a good amount of assistance following Deion to Colorado. One thing about Deion Sanders is that when he's recruiting these players out of high school, or he's trying to sell these guys to come to Colorado out of the transfer portal, he can say, listen, I'm Deion Sanders. I'm a Hall of Fame cornerback. Unlike these other college football head coaches, I have a legitimate resume. I'm not a failed football player. Unlike most of these coaches who end up having subpar careers, end up having to go into coaching, Deion Sanders ends up being one of the greatest football players of all time. So he's telling recruits, I know what it takes to get to that level. I can help you get to that level. You come to Colorado and come play for Coach Prime. I can help develop and teach you and then get you to the league. And there have been some Jackson State players who have gotten to the NFL under Coach Prime during his time at Jackson State. So with him being at Colorado, I expect him to be able to win. How fast will he be able to win? I don't know. But I'm not expecting Colorado to have 1 or 2 wins in 2023. That's for sure. And I definitely think with Deion Sanders having the ability to now use NIL, really how NIL was used to bring in the recruiting classes that Texas A&M brought in. So I think now you can actually say, oh, well, Deion now, he can actually start, dishing some money out to get some of these top-level recruits. And also some of these better guys that's in the transfer portal. So I think Deion Sanders is going to be able to win that Colorado. Colorado is going to end up having a really good coaching staff. Because one thing about Deion Sanders, when you look at his staffs, all of them have many guys who have tons of coaching experience at all levels. Well, at the NFL level. So I think for Deion, I don't think the coaching staff is going to be an issue. I definitely think that there's going to be some players who follow him to Colorado. Everybody isn't going to come. And then he's probably going to snag some good guys out of the transfer portal also. So this is it for this episode of the JT Sports Podcast. If you made it to this point, thank you. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Once again, make sure that you guys leave a like and subscribe on the channel. And then, if you haven't already, make sure that you go ahead, leave a 5-star review on the JT Sports Podcast. The JT Sports Podcast is available on all podcasting platforms, wherever you get your podcasts from. Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon. Go ahead, give us a 5-star review. We're trying to get the 50 5-star reviews by the end of December. We're currently at 49, so we most definitely can make that happen. Go ahead, give the podcast a 5-star review if you enjoyed. Also, share with your friends, family members, acquaintances. Then, lastly, before we get out of here, make sure that you give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow us on Instagram at JTSports_ and on Twitter at JTSports__. Thank you for listening to this episode of the JT Sports Podcast. I will see you guys with another episode shortly.